that being said, guys, let's go ahead and get right into it. As I spoke about in our opening segue, Team USA recently lost to the WNBA All-Stars by a score of 117 to 109, led by Enrique Gumbawale for the WNBA All-Stars, who tallied 34 points, while Caitlin Clark fell one assist shy of breaking the All-Star game record as a rookie, assist record in one game, and people were questioning whether Team USA has what it takes to be successful in the upcoming Olympics based on the recent performance against the WNBA All-Stars. And this is it's not a conundrum, but there are some nuanced details that need to be had when it comes to talking about this event, this game. So we have to understand that the showcase that the men's side is on, where they play about 4 or 5 tune-up games, and they had training camp to prepare for the upcoming Olympics. The women's side did not have that because their current WNBA season is going on right now. So all the players that are playing for Team USA right now on the women's side, this was their first game together after having only less than a week of practice, because we have to remember that the WNBA season just went into its intermission last week, a little over a week ago. So this Team USA roster has had less than a week to prepare, practice, and now their first tune-up game, you call it, is against the best players in the world in the WNBA All-Stars. Because you could very well make the case that this WNBA All-Star team would fare quite well in the Olympics, simply based off the talent. Not talking schematics and X and O's, but simply just off the talent level. This WNBA All-Star team will be the best team that Team USA faces in its cohesiveness during its run to the Olympics. That alone says everything that needs to be said about where Team USA, quote unquote, should be at, where people think they should be at, whether they're prepared or not. You're asking a lot for a team to have less than a week of practice to build chemistry, build cohesiveness, establish a foundation and culture, and you throw them up against the best competition that they'll face right away. No team is going to be prepared for that. Not to mention, neither side is trying to get hurt. We have to remember, this is still an event. This is an all-star game. It's not a showcase game where both sides are playing in the Olympics in these showcase games, like as it is on the men's side. This event right here with Team USA and WNBA All-Stars, neither side is truly trying to get hurt. That's why we didn't see much defense during this game. I mean, the score is 117 to 109. That's typical for an all-star game score, not typical for a WNBA game, let alone a FIBA qualifying game. So the score being 117-109 tells me there wasn't a lot of defense being played, and the intensity level was not where it would be at the level of the Olympics on the international level. Now, that doesn't mean there weren't pockets, there weren't spurts where there was high intensity of basketball being played on both the offensive and defensive end. But collectively, as a whole, there was not much intensity because neither side wants to get hurt, particularly for Team USA. And you have to remember, the WNBA All-Stars, the women who won't be on Team USA, they need to remain healthy for the start of the second half of the WNBA season when it returns after the Olympics. So neither side is trying to get hurt. Both teams are looking to put on a show, looking to put on an event. We have to remember that this event, this All-Star game, was slated to be the highest rated All-Star game in the past 15 years for the WNBA. So you want it to be high scoring, you want it to be fast paced, you want it to be a lot of flashiness, a lot of oohs and ahs moments that's going to sell, because now the stars are in, And now that more people are tuning in to the WNBA, you want to maintain, you want to keep that demographic locked in by keeping this All-Star event entertaining, and that's what it did. So the NBA is doing a good job marketing. I talked about before, where the WNBA has now drawn in a new demographic in which they previously were not drawing in before, that being the young adult male, the large demographic for all sports. And now that that demographic is tuning in, you want to be able to keep that demographic, and the WNBA is doing that. To answer the question of this segment, there is no cause for concern for Team USA losing to the WNBA All-Stars, because there simply have not been enough time for Team USA to develop yet. But if we look recently, last night actually, they handled Germany, who was slated to be one of the biggest opponents, one of the biggest threats to Team USA for the gold in this upcoming Olympics. Team USA handled Germany quite easily. There is no cause for concern for Team USA going into the Olympics. The WNBA All-Stars will be the best team that Team USA faces on its road to the Olympics. I think that says a lot. I want to give credit, though, to the rest of the international pool when it comes to the women's side of basketball. And just as I've stated before, in the WNBA, this is the most talent that's been in the WNBA since its inception. Same thing goes for the international side. This is the most talent that has been in women's basketball in the past 30, 40 years, perhaps since its addition to the Olympics. France is going to be a threat or a good matchup for Team USA. Germany will be a good matchup, led by Satu Sabali. There are quite a number of teams that will be competitive and provide a good matchup for Team USA. I do believe that Team USA will win the gold, and the WNBA All-Stars will be the best team that Team USA faces, so on its road to gold. So there is no cause for concern. And I do want to address another topic, or another point that people were making, and that was that Rike Gumbawali should have been on Team USA, and so should have Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And my question becomes, who will you remove? Who will you remove from Team USA's roster to replace those three players for those three? People were saying, well, you can take away Sabrina Ionescu or Kelsey Plum and put in Arike Gumbawali. Arike is a phenomenal player. She's one of the best, if not the best scorer, just pure scorer in the WNBA. However, the same thing we talk about with the men's and why Jalen Brunson and Kyrie Irving and Jaylen Brown weren't on Team USA. Same thing applies for the men. It's about matchups. It's about chemistry. It's about style of play. We have to remember that Arike Gumbawali with the Dallas Wings, she has the ball in her hands a lot. It sticks quite often because she's the only player on that team that can create her own shot and can create shots for others. So she's used to having the ball in her hands. But when it comes to Team USA, that's not something that they need. Why Kelsey Plum and Sabrina Ionescu are great fits for Team USA is because both of them can move well off the ball, both of them can score well off the catch, and both of them can still be proficient and efficient without having the ball in their hands. And that's not to say that Arike can't do that. That's not what she naturally does. So you're better off by having players that can naturally do that, which is something that Sabrina and Kelsey do. And we have to remember that they have prior experience being on the previous Team USA team back in 2021. And people were advocating for Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark to be on Team USA as well. If you're telling me that Angel Reese is better than Afisa Collier or Brittany Griner or Alyssa Thomas or Breonna Stewart or Asia Wilson, if you're telling me that that Angel Reese is better than any of those players, then by all means, sure. And if you're telling me that Caitlin Clark is better than Jewel Lloyd, Chelsea Gray, or Jackie Young, then by all means, put them on the roster. But if not, then allow this team to win the gold. Their time will come. I can guarantee you, I will promise you, that Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Enrique Gumbarali will all be on Team USA for the FIBA World Cup Championships, which will be in 2 years. But let everything else subside. Let the Team USA be successful. There's a reason that these players are on the team. What I will say, though, it's very interesting that Kara Lofton is not the Team USA head coach, and that Dawn Staley is not on the Team USA coaching staff. And I'll leave it at that. In our next segment, guys, we will be discussing whether or not there should be cause for concern on the men's side in this upcoming Olympics, based off their recent performances against South Sudan and Germany. So be sure to stick around for that, guys. You're not going to miss it. We'll be right back.